Round one.
Hey everyone, it's the best tier list Tekken 8 maker ever. Anyways, I'm a bit sick, but I wanted to talk about a study I did, okay? So, what I did as of late was, I said in my previous video I was smurfing to see where the community is at. So I decided to actually play some of the games to get to Tekken King, right? And right now I'm at Tekken God with the Smurf account, but I have found some very interesting data. Okay, this is just based on my experience. I don't have like really any numbers other than like some things online, but other than that, let me tell you about it. All right, so of course I only play Lars, so this is what I did. Okay, so when I'm playing ranked as my Smurf, the first thing I did was I had to do no rank restrictions. Okay, and then I did +4 connection only, and then I also had to do prioritize rollback, cross-platform on, obviously. Okay, so all those things, and I'm gonna explain the reasoning. Okay, so I did no rank restrictions because I've already hit the highest rank. Bring me whoever, it doesn't matter. But the interesting thing is that it seems like no one in the community is actually even doing no rank restrictions, or maybe the servers just don't let you fight anyone that's your rank. I've only ran into one person who was not my rank when I was playing, so I would be like somewhere in the wood ranks, and I would have to fight someone who was a battle ruler thing. And I did talk about this in my previous video. I forgot which one, but yeah, that's the only time I fought someone who was not my rank. And then they left right after too, because they're like, this dude's smurfing. But doesn't matter. Now, the interesting thing about prioritizing rollback, in my opinion, is that when it comes to Tekken 8 Online, you could either prioritize rollback, put it on standard, or prioritize input, right? And when I played the game in the beginning, I felt like standard was not as good. I don't know. Occasionally it would fluctuate and it wouldn't be as consistent, right? But the thing is, if you prioritize input, the game decides to skip some frames. So you might see people like stutter and move around the arena, which I didn't like, you know what I mean? In some throws you just would not be able to see because they would skip frames to try to keep you up to date, right? But the reason why I did prioritize rollback is because I would rather have the game look fluid and have a smaller window to like tech or break a throw. Like, I would rather have that than see an unseeable throw and not even be like given a chance to break it, you know what I mean? But that was my logic. That's me going into ranked. But the most interesting part was where the community is at as I'm playing this. So when I'm saying that I'm fighting a lot of lower ranks, or when I'm gonna talk and I say lower ranks, I mean the rank from wood rank to Tekken King. Okay, and then when I say high ranks, I would say Tekken Emperor to like the last God of Destruction, right? So why would I say that? The reason why I would say low ranks to Tekken King is because there is like just so much like noobness in these ranks all the way up to Tekken King, which I think is astonishing. Okay, coming from Tekken 7, Tekken King was like a strong rank. Like, you could tell someone was good if they had Tekken King, I mean, unless you're playing like Marduk or like DLC type shit. But like, if someone was like a Gigas and they were Tekken King, you could tell that they knew their shit because that game was hard as balls, you know what I mean? But in this game, it's not really applicable. I have to make a video explaining why Tekken 7 is better than Tekken 8 because like this kind of like blends together and it would be too long. But what I'm trying to say is, as I'm coming up to Tekken King, it's like no one knows how to use their character to the utmost optimal, right? When I say optimal, I mean like the best punishing that they could do at that time, or the best combo at that time too. So like, depending on the situation, obviously you can't do the most max damage combo, or you could, like, you wouldn't have to do the max combo if you wanted to get some Oki, right? And if you want to do max damage, you can do max damage, like that, right? Like, let's say if you get someone airborne and you want to go for Oki, you would do like a combo for Oki, right? But the thing is, as I'm playing all the way up to Tekken King, it's like no one does this. Even in blue ranks like Fujins all the way up to Bushin, I don't see any of these characters, like any of these blue ring players, doing optimal combos. Like I was even fighting like, was it a Fujin Dragonov or something? He just like launched me, did a screw, and then just ended it. And it was like a tiny ass combo. And you know Dragonov could take like half your health, right? So it's like stuff like that. And even when I would do something like lightning screw on purpose, like I'm gonna just throw this bitch out, minus 26, I would see people like Kazuya's just do flash punching, you know? And it's like, why would you do that? Like, that is minus 26. You could definitely go for an electric, or even like while standing too. Like, it's just so weird. Or I would do blue bolt, and that's also launch punishable, right? The thing that I noticed that no one really understands frame data until you get to Tekken Emperor, which is, in my opinion, like high ranks, right? Because now, when you're fighting people Tekken Emperor and above, I was starting to see like, oh yeah, now I'm really getting put in the mix from all these other characters. Like, people were actually beginning to sidestep at this rank, but Tekken King and below, no one is sidestepping. And everyone just wants to do the moves that they want. Like, even when you're fighting like a blue rank king, all this guy did was just fucking back 3 me, or like fucking do some down forward 2-1 type shit. And it's just like, man, just, you know, get your game up, my guy. Like, you could tell that this isn't working. But yeah, man, I think it's really interesting. Like, the whole community is kind of like, it's like such a wide net that has like not as experienced players for their rank. Like, I don't mean to like downplay anything. Maybe this is just Tekken 8, but it's like, when you get to Tekken King to Tekken Emperor, you will see that there is like a plateau for these new players because they just don't understand like the fundamentals of Tekken. Like, that's where I see fundamentals of Tekken come in, is Tekken Emperor, right? So fundamentals meaning like, oh yeah, sidestepping and backdashing, and like, you know, actually frame traps and actually optimal punishing type shit, you know what I mean? You just don't see that Tekken King and below. Like Tekken King, slightly you might see some because some Tekken Emperors fall down and, you know, so on and so forth, but the majority of the time no one is doing that. And it's like, when you finally get to Tekken Emperor, like, it was so easy to get to Tekken Emperor. Once I get to Tekken Emperor, I'm fighting people who actually know how to do like fucked up 50-50s, right? It's like, if you have a Fing will just fucking do like, you know, down forward 3 or down back 3, and you have to just take the mix type shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do back 3 or back 4 to get +6. Now you have to guess this type of shit, you know? You can't sidestep me, because down forward 3 tracks really fucking well or some shit, you know? And I just thought that that was really, like, no one's doing this shit in Tekken King and below. And I also noticed that no one is really breaking throws until they get to like blue ranks, pretty much. Like, even ruler ranks, in a way, they're still doing moves that they just like, but it could be really risky. That's the thing too. No one understands the risk of moves until they're like Tekken Emperor. It's just really weird. So you might be like, what the fuck? Like, how is that possible, right? I don't know too, because the thing is, so this is why I was like, why are people playing just so bad? You know what I mean? And I mean, I guess I mean, I come from Tekken 7, so I just think like rank, and I'm like an online rank warrior, obviously. So it's like, you know, I'm analyzing this. But the interesting thing that I found was like, I was able to go on like a 91 win streak. Okay, so I was like, there's no way that someone should be able to get a rank this high and climb up, you know what I mean? I think that shit kind of like looks weird. Like in Tekken 7 you could, but ranks, I mean, you know, win streaks is kind of insane, you know what I mean? Especially when it's a best out of 2 and you're able to get a 91 wins. I think that's kind of crazy. Whereas Tekken 7, you could do unlimited rematching, and, you know, pretty much if you wanted to farm one guy, you could for a long time, you know? But anyways, so I got to a 91 win streak, which was the highest. So occasionally, the first thing I started was I got a 13 win streak in wood ranks. Then I had to fight a Smurf, Wi-Fi Yoshi. Then I lost because it's Wi-Fi. Like, Wi-Fi is hit or miss, I will say that. And then I got a 91 win streak, got up to like Mighty Ruler, and then I lost to a Heihachi. And then I got up to another 41 win streak, lost to another Heihachi again. And then I got to, you know, like 7 win streak, and then that's when the streak starts to die, because now we're like kind of getting there, you know. 7 win streak up to Tekken King, and then you're fighting like Tekken Emperors and all that, and you're like actually getting put in a real mix now, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, no one is really doing any good mixes until you're like Tekken Emperor, which I think is kind of crazy. Like, kings will just run up to you and try to do Shining Wizard. Like, that's not how it works, bro. Like, it just doesn't really work like that, you know what I mean? I forgot what else I was gonna say. Oh yeah, no. Now, that's what my experience is fighting online ranks. Like, no one is really good until Tekken Emperor. Yeah, man, no one is just optimizing everything in all the way up to there. And I think Tekken King is a high rank because it's the last like 5 ranks before you beat online, pretty much. And you're telling me that people are able to just kind of like cheese their way, you know? I mean, it depends on which character you play that can cheese, but yeah, you know. And in my opinion, you know, like, it starts to get hard because, like, you know, Lars can't, no escape tools pretty much. Like, I don't have any, like, can counter hit launcher type shit like that that's safe, you know. Like, I'm just complaining a bit here, but, you know. Anyways, so yeah, as I'm at Tekken God, I will say this, okay. When you fight the last 4 or 5 ranks compared to the earlier ranks, I don't know if it's just me, but this is my online experience, alright? As a Smurf, I think people should definitely, I don't know if you should do this, but this is just my experience. So, on the way coming up to Tekken King, the connection is so good, dude. It does not matter if they're a console Wi-Fi or a PC Wi-Fi. It's really good. Even, like, some Ethernet is okay, right? But I don't know what it is, but as soon as I get to, like, the, you know, high ranks, like Tekken Emperor and above, it doesn't matter who they are. It just seems like even if you are at a 4-bar Ethernet or 5-bar Ethernet, to me, I always keep dropping, like, the internet connection. Like, it would go from, like, 83 ms, jump up to, like, 100, 120, and then go back down to 83, and then it's like, what is going on, dude? But when I was getting all the way up to Tekken King, none of that happened, you know? All the delay frames was like at maybe 2 frames most, 1 frame most at the lower ranks, and you know, rollback was like 0, right? And it's like, what is going on when you get to high ranks? It just, at high ranks, I'm consistently at like 2 frames of delay, and then occasionally 1 or 2 frames of rollback, and that feels really underwater, you know what I mean? Like, you could feel it. Like, when I hit the D-pad, it just doesn't feel nice to, like, backdash or, like, even sidestep. It feels so delayed, you know, and I could feel it. And I just don't know what it is when you get to high ranks, but it's like, when you get to high ranks, it's just not good. I don't know what it is. Like, the online is kind of just, stuttery, you know what I mean? But the most interesting thing that I also found out online was that PC Wi-Fi, so I'm obviously on PC Ethernet, but you know, as you get up in the ranks, obviously, which is less players, people take the game more seriously, so they use Ethernet, right? And at the lower ranks, everyone is kind of like Wi-Fi players, right? I got to say that PC Wi-Fi has got to be the most consistent connection, which I think is really unusual. Just in my experience, it's been very consistent. Even when you fight people in the high ranks, PC Wi-Fi to PC Ethernet, which is me, like my side, it's been really good, and I just don't get it. But then when you fight PC Ethernet, occasionally the opponent's bars or PC turns red, and then mine flashes red, and then it like loses connection for a bit, goes to 3 bars, and then goes back to 4 or 5 bars, depending on, you know, the connection. I just think that's kind of weird, you know. And I've only experienced that really when I fight PC Ethernet, right? Even when low ranks or high ranks, it does not matter. I don't know, man. I would like to see like more research on this because I don't get why it does that. And it's only at the high ranks when I see that holding back is not holding back, or holding down back isn't down back. And I don't think it's prioritizing rollback too, because even when I used to play prioritize input way back in the earlier, like, you know, the first few months that Tekken 8 came out, it's the same thing still happened, you know what I mean? Like, the rollback is still kind of fucked up, you know? But my theory is that the reason why I don't know, like PC Wi-Fi, I don't know if it's because like we all have different specs or some shit that just, and Wi-Fi, they just have like Omega good internet package or something, but it's just really weird, you know. Like I think PC Wi-Fi to PC Ethernet is the better connection, and then the second best is probably like PC Ethernet to PC Ethernet, right? Which I think is kind of weird because it's not like a high bar. Like PC Wi-Fi to me, I've experienced it's just so clean, you know. But what's it like? PC Ethernet is okay, but PC Ethernet is sort of on par with console Ethernet. Like it's not that great. Like every time I fight console Ethernet, a lot of the same thing still happens where it would drop frames, you know. And I'm assuming this is my only theory when it comes down to consoles and PC is because the game is already optimized for that console, right? Like they did their best to optimize it to that console, but the reason why it kind of stutters is because everyone has variable PC specs, right? So it would probably, in my theory, would like, you know, take some time to like adjust the game to make sure that it works well on both ends. That's just my theory, but I just don't know why PC Wi-Fi just feels so good, dude. It's unusual. But the only time I feel like PC Ethernet would work okay is if you do player match, which is like when you go to a lobby and you do it. Tekken Lounge, I only played like 9 matches, but I haven't really been paying attention in there, which is really you know, kind of bad on my end. But yeah, you know, that's just my experience seeing how online works, and I don't know, man. I think it's really interesting how lower ranks in a way have like way better internet connection compared to higher ranks. And again, I don't know if it's because like, you know, no one is really at high ranks, because the higher rank you go, the like slower the population, right? So you have to fight like coast to coast type shit, and that's why the internet sucks. And then if you compare that to like obviously like, you know, people who play in like East Asia, you know, their countries are like very small, so they have good internet infrastructure type shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I just find that really unusual, you know what I mean? I don't think it's worth it to do another Smurf account, but I would like to see where people fall, you know? And the other thing that I found really, really interesting too is that when you do player matching, or not player matching, quick match, right? I was doing quick match and I was Mighty Ruler to see if my theory was true. Or my question that I had was, like, why do I never fight anyone like higher ranked than or lower ranked than me when I'm God of Destruction on my main account, right? Like I never fight any red ranks or any like blue ranks. Blue ranks rarely, but red ranks never, or wood ranks never in quick match, right? And my theory was correct, right? So it's like when I hopped in Mighty Ruler, when I was on my Smurf account, I was Mighty Ruler. I hopped in player match or quick match. Yeah, man. It's like you only fight +5, -5 people. You don't fight anyone who's above that like category. I only fought people who was like red rank and like maybe 1 purple rank or 1 ruler rank when I was playing quick match. And I just think that's kind of like unusual, you know. In Tekken 7, they didn't give a fuck, so you could just fight whoever. They did not care who it was. But that's what I just find really interesting. So in a way, if you are like God of Destruction doing quick match, you are gonna have a really hard time trying to find people like, you know, that is like, I guess, high rank in a way. Like occasionally I would fight it and stay in quick match, and it would take a while to get it, you know, because they're trying to find like Tekken Kings and, you know, Tekken Emperors type shit to be on there. But you never really fight anyone who's like also red ranks or blue ranks. I know you might be like, why the fuck would you want to pick on those people? I think it's a valid experience, you know. When you go fight in a Tekken tournament, you are fighting people of all ranks, so you should be able to fight anyone, you know what I mean? One interesting thing too was that when I was fighting people in lower ranks on the come up, there are people who would do bad habits that you wouldn't even expect. Like that shit humbled me, bro. I would fight a Jin, he does 2-1-4 and then down 2, and I was like, oh, he did that 2 times now. There's no way he's gonna do it for the 3rd, right? Guess what the motherfucker does? He does it again. So it's really important for you to, you know, play people of all kinds of ranks. And I just think it's really weird in quick match to do that. To fight +5, -5, right? But at the highest ranks, you're only fighting people like Tekken King and all the way to God of Destruction, right? Rarely a blue rank. But That's just one thing I found very interesting. Now the other thing that I also found interesting was like, what is it? Character usage, right? Heihachis are kind of down there, you know. Heihachis are kind of popular in the lower ranks, but I usually see them kind of blue ranks and up because, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that dude's kind of good, you know. But I saw a lot more Steves than I thought I would see, you know. A lot more Steves at the bottom, a lot more Kazuya's. Who else? I saw some Elisas, and Elisa's a bitch, obviously. And, you know, they're still cheesing all the way up to, like, blue ranks, dude. I'm fighting this blue rank Elisa who's just fucking doing armor move, and when I'm in stance, it's like, dude, that's some bullshit, man. But, yeah, a lot more Steves than I thought, and some Kazuyas, too. And obviously Jin and King. But the thing that I find really interesting was, like, I did not see a lot of, like, bears at all. No bears, no Zafina, barely any Ravens, barely any Lars. I only fought one while I fight Lars, and then he plugged on me afterwards. And he just, you know, one and done. Barely any Xiaoyus, too. And maybe, like, 2 Johns. But the thing is, I don't see any of the new characters. Like, I only ran into Victor and Azucena when I met, like, Tekken Emperor, right? I also saw, like, no Horang on the come up, which I think is really interesting, right? I don't know, man. It seems like all the hard to execute characters are at the bottom because obviously it takes execution and skill to do. And then all the, like, I wouldn't say easy characters, but kind of like bullshit characters are kind of like up there, you know what I mean? Like armor move, heat engagers type shit. But yeah, man, a lot of Steves and a lot of like Kazuyas down there, and then they can't really do that perfect electric. But like Steves kind of have trouble doing the optimal combo type shit, you know what I mean? But that's just my experience and what I found online smurfing. This is my play record. So my play record right now is just gonna show all the way up to Tekken King. Right now I'm trying to get to God of Destruction, but I'm taking my time with that because it's kind of like I've already hit it, and in a way it just feels like I'm playing on my main account all over again. It's not really fun because it's like that shit keeps stuttering, and I don't know, man. Lower rank online, it just feels so much better than high rank, dude. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, I went on 147 wins and then lost 5 times out of like 152 matches, right? And it's like very high win rate, good defense type shit. I don't remember. I'm not looking at the screen right now, but I'll put it up. But yeah, man, I just found smurfing really interesting. So it still seems like the community experiences at infancy. And one thing I learned about this is that this really makes me miss Tekken 7, man. Like, Tekken 7 was I don't want to say it was a better game, but it was much better designed in a way. But, you know, I have to make a video on why I think Tekken 7 is better than Tekken 8 and, like, the issues I have with it. But this is where I'm at right now. So this is my results from Smurfing and Tekken 8, alright? So I wanted to see where the community was at, and I also wanted to get better. I'm just going to do a quick recap. I felt like online was better at Tekken King and below, but at the same time, people who are playing Tekken King and below are not good. They're not doing optimal shit, you know, like best thing at the best situation. Like, what is the best thing you can do in this situation? You know, obviously there's no perfect thing, but there's like a better solution in that time and place, right? And what else I was gonna say? Oh yeah, high ranks for some reason, Tekken Emperor and above, that's when people start to play fundamentals, and I think that's where it kind of scares like new generation Tekken 8 players, because it gets really hard really fast, because all of a sudden no one is mashing buttons. You're kind of like, what the fuck? I was mashing buttons all the way up to Tekken King, right? You might be like, this is unusual. And then you have to try to actually play with defense. You might be like, you know, scared shitless. You actually have to know frame data type shit, you know? But yeah, man, Tekken 8, this is my experience smurfing. You know, I forgot what else I was gonna say. Oh yeah, character usage, I already said that, but I don't think there's no recap on that. But I don't know if anyone else wants to try smurfing and see their experience. I'm the only one who's done this research. I just thought it was really interesting. I might make another one when, like, it's like I don't know, 5 years from now when I probably have like a kid. Who knows, dude? Could you imagine 5 years from now it's gonna be like 2030 and this game is supposed to be here for like 10 years, dude. Tekken 7 was here for like 8 years or 7 years. So could you imagine that? That shit's kind of wild. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say. I feel like I'm gonna keep rambling on, but this is just my experience smurfing a Tekken. Skirt.
Over here. 俺を止めることはできない。